In this video, I'm going to react to 10 taboo questions you should never ask in the USA. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. This is the place where I react to music, media, sports, anime, anything related to popular culture. I'll watch it with an open mind and give you my 100% honest reaction to it. And if you could please hit that like button early, I'd really appreciate it. Now this should be interesting because I've been to the USA, I think 3 times. So Florida twice, Maryland once. And because I've always stayed in resorts, I've not really spoken to many of the locals. It's usually, when it's been Florida, it's been Disneyland, Universal, in Maryland, it was with family and stuff. So, I've never had the opportunity to speak with a lot of American people. And I imagine that there's probably things that you shouldn't really talk about, shouldn't really bring up, just as there are over here. There's certain topics and questions that it's just seen as a bit unpopular to speak about. So I thought, in anticipation of this trip that I'm planning on the US trip next year, I thought, let me kind of clue myself up on some topics to actually, to not speak on, just to, keep stum. And I just thought it'd be good to start learning them. So let's go. There's going to be me reacting to 10 taboo questions you should never ask in the USA. Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Vanessa from SpeakEnglishWithVanessa.com. Be careful what you say. Let's talk about it.
All right.
When you have conversations with people from other cultures, it's really important to be respectful of that person's culture. Of course, when we're talking with people from our own culture, we should be respectful too. But it's a little bit more complicated when we're talking with people from different backgrounds, because maybe you don't know which topics are acceptable to talk about or which topics are taboo. Taboo means that if you talk about that topic in the wrong context, people will feel really uncomfortable. It's inappropriate, it's just not polite. So today I'd like to help you learn 10 questions that you absolutely should not ask in American culture.
Okay.
These topics might be okay if you're talking with someone who you're really close to, but that's not really the situation that we're talking about here. For this lesson, we're gonna imagine 3 situations. Number 1, you run across someone that you know at the grocery store. Don't ask these questions. Or you are talking with a coworker in the office. Don't ask these questions. Or maybe you're going out for coffee with a new friend or a coworker or someone you don't know that well. Don't ask these questions. Let's go to our first topic in question. Topic number 1 is politics. The main questions that you should not ask are, who are you voting for, or who did you vote for? So
yeah, this one has been mentioned quite a few times in the culture shock video that I did, the USA culture shock video. It's a big no-no apparently, And to be fair, over here, I wouldn't say it's that big of a deal, but it's still something that if you don't know the person very well, it's probably, you wouldn't ask this.
So this just depends when the election was, if it was in the past, or if it's going to be in the future. Even though this year is a presidential election year in the US, and if you turn on the news, you'll see so much information about this, we don't really talk about our personal voting choices unless it's with really close friends. On the other hand, Americans love bumper stickers and yard signs. So you might see on the back of someone's car, Biden, or on the back of someone's car, Trump, or a sign in someone's yard that says something similar about who they're voting for. But even if someone has a bumper sticker or a sign in their yard, they probably don't want to debate you about who you should vote for or who they're voting for. Usually this is still considered an inappropriate topic to ask about.
Yeah, that does make sense in fairness. Even if they advertise who they support, it's probably just best just left alone.
Topic number 2, family. Are you married? Why not? Do you have kids? Why not? Are you pregnant? these topics are considered personal, especially if it's somebody who you've just met. I know that these types of family questions are considered no problem in other cultures, but in the US, these are personal and sensitive. Imagine this situation. Someone really wants to have kids and they've been trying to have kids and they can't. Or maybe they had a miscarriage, which means that they were pregnant and then the baby died. This is a really sensitive situation. And if you casually ask them, oh, why don't you have kids? Or when are you going to have kids? This really touches something inside of them that's hard to talk about. So unless you are a really, really close friend, I recommend not asking, are you married? Why not? Do you have kids? Why not? Just as a little notice, especially as...
Yeah, to be fair, like imagining myself asking someone that, are you married? Why aren't you married? Do you have kids? Why don't you have kids? Like, yeah, I would never do that myself, but I imagine there probably are cultures where there's no harm at all in asking this sort of stuff.
As someone who recently had a baby a couple months ago, never ask a woman if she is pregnant. Do you know what this means? This means your tummy is visibly big. Well, they could be pregnant, but what if they're not? What if they're just a little bit overweight? Or what if they just had a baby and they still have a little tummy? Well, this could be a really uncomfortable situation. I saw a funny quote once that said, never ask a woman if she's pregnant. Even if she is actively in labor, don't ask her until you see the baby. Maybe this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but if you ask someone, are you pregnant? You better be 100% sure that they are pregnant. And it's a little bit safer to let them bring up this topic anyway. Maybe if you're having a conversation and you see that they're probably pregnant, wait until they say, oh yeah, I've been feeling really tired lately, or I'm feeling the baby's kicks. Okay, now it's a safe topic. Our next taboo topic is sexuality. If a man mentions something about his boyfriend, or a woman mentions something about her girlfriend, do not ask, oh, are you gay?
This just makes me laugh because like I've got like uncles and aunts who, you know, born and raised in Nigeria, like you know, came to the UK in their like maybe 30s, early 30s, maybe late 20s, and you know, this sort of question, they would have no problem asking anyone this sort of stuff. Like it's just funny hearing, you know, just what's acceptable in some cultures, what is unacceptable in other cultures, you know?
This is the 21st century. It is not shocking, or it should not be shocking, when someone is gay. Just a little quick note, if a man or woman says, my partner, talking about the person who they live with, this doesn't always mean that it's a same-sex partner. It might mean this, but it could just mean that they are in a committed long-term relationship. Sometimes if you are living with someone and you are committed to them, you don't want to call them just your boyfriend or your girlfriend. In this way, it's a little bit casual, it's not so serious. So
really? Is it? You know, that, I don't know, like when I've been in relationships, you know, I see, yeah, she's my girlfriend, you know, she's my missus. It still means you're in a relationship, you know, a tight relationship. This is a new one for me.
So if you are in a same-sex relationship, or if you are not and you just aren't married, well, you could call them my partner. So if you happen to be talking with someone and they say, oh yeah, I need to call my partner and ask them about this. It doesn't mean necessarily that it's a same-sex partner. It might mean that, it might not. But in any situation, it's not polite to say, oh, are you gay? Just take it in stride. Our next taboo topic is religion.
Oh.
I don't recommend asking, do you go to church? Or saying, don't do this, it's a sin. Even though the US has a reputation for being potentially more religious than some other countries, it's still not considered acceptable to ask someone what their religion is. Now, Americans will sometimes mention, oh, after I went to church, we went to the park. Something about going to church. And it's acceptable to mention it yourself, but not really to ask someone else about it. Where I live in the south of the US, it's generally more a religious place, but that's because the majority of people are Protestant Christians, so they expect that everyone else has the same religion, which, is not quite realistic, but, that's the mindset. When my family first moved to the south of the US, the maintenance man who was installing our refrigerator asked my mom, "Have you found a church yet?" We were shocked because in the north of the US, this is not common to talk about. It's not expected that you would go to church, and it's especially not expected that you would ask someone about this.
Where is the Bible Belt? Is that is that a group of states, or is it a specific area in a certain state? Like where is that? Let me know in the comment section.
So even if you're in the south of the US and someone asks...
It's in the south though, isn't it? I think it's in the south at least.
...you, I don't recommend you asking yourself because it's a little bit less acceptable. Our next taboo topic is race. I don't recommend asking, where are you really from? Especially when someone is obviously from the US. The US is such a diverse place. People come from all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of types of heritage. Even if it was their great-great-grandparents who moved to the US, a lot of people have different looks, different backgrounds, different cultures, but they are still all American. This question often gets asked to my Asian American friends. So for example, I have a friend who, when I first met her, I thought, oh, she looks Korean. But she didn't have any type of accent. She seemed completely like someone from the US. So I didn't really ask her, are you Korean? That would have been a little bit rude and presumptive. So instead, I just didn't say anything. I didn't even ask her, what's your heritage? This is a slightly more polite question, but only when you're talking about your family's background already. So instead of asking her this, I just thought, it doesn't matter. Why would I need to ask this? And one day when I was at her house, I saw a little picture or painting on the wall with some Korean writing. And I said, oh, cool. I used to live in Korea. Have you been there? I saw that picture in your kitchen with some Korean writing. And she said, oh, my mom was adopted from Korea. This type of situation is extremely common in the US. My friend has pretty much no cultural connection to Korea. Her mom has...
Yeah, in this example, she played it perfectly, because if she was like, in as nice of a way as possible, if she asked, are you from Korea? The fact that her mum was adopted from there, it's probably quite a sensitive subject for her, because I'm sure she probably has, or she might have some curiosity about Korea, what's it like. So yeah, she definitely, in my opinion at least, played this perfectly.
Almost no cultural connection to Korea too, except that she lived there when she was very, very young before she was adopted. So if I had asked my friend, hey, where are you really from? Are you from Korea?
Yeah, it would have been terrible.
She probably would have felt like, I don't belong here. This isn't my home, but really it is. She is American just like anybody else. So this question can make people feel pretty uncomfortable. I personally recommend waiting until they mention something, or just don't worry about it. Yeah. Don't ask about it.
Yeah, this applies to the UK as well. Like this one here, yeah, it definitely applies.
And if they mention something, cool. If they don't, go with the flow. Our next taboo topic is money. I don't recommend asking, how much money do you make? Yeah. Or how much was some kind of expensive item, maybe like a car. Sometimes people will add this expression, if you don't mind me asking, before asking about money. Yeah. I did this a couple weeks ago when my neighbor hired a babysitter, and I was curious how much she charged, or how much the babysitter charged to watch her kids. I didn't really want to directly ask her, hey, how much money did you give the babysitter? So I asked, if you don't mind me asking, can I ask how much she charged? This is very indirect. I'm asking her about the purchase of potentially an expensive thing, some babysitting services, but I'm asking her in an indirect way.
This one here, I feel like if you're, if you've got a good relationship with your neighbor, like you're quite pally with them as we are, I'd just ask. I'd be like, that babysitter that you had, how much did you pay her? Like, I would just ask that way. Maybe I need to be a bit more, I don't know, what's the word? Thoughtful in my questioning, I guess. But I think, yeah, if the closer you are with someone, the less kind of walking on eggshells you have to be. You can just come out and ask for certain things.
I hired that babysitter, I could say, well, how much do you charge? This is very direct, it's fine, this is a business transaction. But when it's someone else who's making that purchase, it's better to use this expression or just not ask at all. We never really ask, how much money do you make? Talking directly about personal income. Yeah, it's not really a popular topic.
Same as the UK. Yeah, you just don't do it. Just don't do it. Unless you're, tight friends, like tight friends. Yeah, definitely not.
Topic or a comfortable topic. Our final taboo topic is appearance. I don't recommend asking, are you feeling tired today? Oh, you look tired. Are you feeling okay? Did you lose weight? Did you gain weight? Not acceptable. If you're really concerned about someone, maybe one of your coworkers is looking a lot more tired than usual, or maybe you realize that they really lost a lot of weight and you are seriously concerned about them. We don't talk about this in just casual passing conversation. Instead, pull them aside or talk with them privately, and with a lot of care in your heart, you can ask them, hey, I'm a little worried about you. You look kind of a lot more tired than usual the last couple days. What's going on? Are you okay?
I'm trying to imagine myself asking this question in exact the same way. I feel like it would sound really insincere from me, like, I'm a little worried about you. Are you okay? I'd probably say something like, is everything all right with you, mate? Yeah, just something like that. That might come across as a bit insensitive, though. Yeah.
Did you notice the tone of my voice is very serious? This is not casual conversation. You're not just asking because you care. Instead, you are very serious and you are telling them personally. So make sure that if you ask these questions, it is in the correct context with someone who you really care about, not just in passing. A little special note talking about appearance, especially for men directing comments towards women. I don't recommend saying something so direct as, wow, you look really beautiful. This is usually considered flirting. If you are flirting with them and you want to ask them out on a date, okay, go ahead. But if you're just in the office and you want to, you notice, oh wow, you look great today. Be careful being so enthusiastic about it. Wow, you look so beautiful today. Instead, it's considered more polite to compliment maybe their haircut or their clothes. Oh, did you get a new haircut? It looks great. Wonderful. Or, oh, that's a nice shirt. I love those colors. This is more indirect if you want to compliment someone's appearance, especially for a man directed towards a woman, and you don't want them to feel uncomfortable because you're just coworkers or you're just friends and you're not trying to be romantic towards them. Well, you can compliment them indirectly. Their hair, their clothes, something like this. Actually, that was not the last topic. I got
look at her little baby.
a little distracted because I heard my baby crying, so he's gonna join me for this last taboo topic. We're going to end on a light note. Death. I do not recommend asking, do you think he's going to die soon?
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a horrible question to ask.
Or, I think he's going to die soon. This is too direct, too rude. Yes, death is an essential part of being alive, being a human, being a being, but we do not say it in such direct terms. Instead, if you want to talk about death, you can use a more indirect expression to pass away. You might say, sorry, I was gone from work last week. My grandmother passed away and I had to travel to California for the funeral. In this situation, you're saying pass away, much more polite to say. If someone says this to you, how can you react to show that you care? You can simply say, oh, I'm so sorry, or I'm sorry for your loss. You don't need to go on and on. Those two common polite expressions are really enough. You say it from your heart and you mean it. Now you might be wondering, if I can't talk about all these taboo topics, what can I talk about? Well, really the possibilities are endless. You could talk about your weekend plans. You could talk about that time you broke your arm when you fell out of a tree as a kid. You could talk about how you wish you could go to New York on a vacation. You could talk about how octopuses are pretty much the smartest animal in the world. The possibilities are endless. If you'd like to know how to start a conversation with anyone, I made a video.
Yeah, I think quite a few of those are, applicable to here in the UK for sure. It's basically, I think a lot of it is common sense. You just have to really think. Like, if you don't know someone that well, like, you just have to think of, is this question that I want to ask them, would I be comfortable being asked that? And if you do that and you actually think it through, I think, yeah, you'll be okay. So I don't think I've got much to worry about. It's just about applying common sense and just being sensible. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and keep throwing the recommendations my way. I know I say it all the time, but they genuinely help me out, because if I know you enjoyed watching something, I'll definitely enjoy reacting to it. So like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, keep throwing the recommendations, and I'll catch you in the next one.